the window. Get to here, twist up. Each finger gets a little bend to it. And then I come. My name is Jim Olson. I've been doing classes like this, probably about 15, 16, 17 years now in the Winter Park area. These classes being martial arts exercises, but geared more towards your health to improve whatever your issues may be. I've had people before with asthma, bronchitis, lung disease, people with walkers, oxygen tanks, you name it. Whatever it is, I don't want to get so involved. I know you have reasons why you're here at this facility, but what I'd rather you focus on is just trying to do what I demonstrate, follow along, and do it to the ability that you feel comfortable. I won't walk around and make you do this or bend your back or make you do some kind of unusual position. It's kind of up to you to follow along and see what you feel comfortable with in order to do it. The exercises are all from martial arts. When we say Tai Chi, that's such a hip phrase these days. You know, it's like, oh, Tai Chi, you see it in the newspaper and magazines, little blurbs on television. But that can mean a vast variety of different things to different individuals. If you've seen some of the videos and things like that, you follow along, you do these real slow exercises. That is all part of what we do. Tai Chi is a type of Kung Fu. And the reason why people would practice these exercises over the years was to stay physically fit and mentally sharp. But the other benefits that come from it is making your body balanced. As we continue to age and our body starts to go through the aging process, things aren't working the same way as when we were younger, these exercises, the intention is to make the body balanced from the left to the right side, from the top to the bottom, from the inside to the outside. So how do you do that? Well, some people like to run or lift weights, swim. Those are all good types of exercise, but really they mostly focus on moving your arms and moving your legs in order to get your heart to beat more. When we do these exercises, what we're trying to do is consciously relax different parts of the body as we twist and turn the torso, which is where the main organs are located. And by doing this twisting and pushing and pulling and bending, along with the deep breathing exercises, we're trying to get the blood and the energy to travel throughout the body more. So if you're ill, it's because something's out of balance, something isn't working the way it's supposed to. These movements can ideally help you to balance your body. Plus, it gives you a source of thought where you're not always thinking about negative things or worrying about things that you might not have as much control over. Once you engage yourself to try some of these exercises, your mind's like here, you're focused here. So you can't be thinking about, what I got to do later on when I get home, what errands do I got to run, I got to do some more exercises later for this part of my body. You just focus on what we're doing here. It's very engaging. So instead of me talking for another half hour or 45 minutes or you're going to fall asleep, I'd like you to try some of these exercises. You can stand up, you can sit down, you can do them however you feel comfortable. As I said, it's a follow-along type of instruction. I don't demand anything from you. I don't grab any of those weights or those instruments there and start throwing them at you if you don't stand up and start doing what I'm doing. As a matter of fact, if you need to go use the restroom or grab a drink, do that as we're going along. Obviously, if you're engaged in what I'm doing, you're going to get more benefit from it. But I want you to feel very comfortable, very relaxed in what we're trying to do here. So does anybody have any questions? Well, the more often you do it, the more benefits you can get from it. A lot of my people at the classes that I teach most right now is 2 days a week. They do it for about an hour, Mondays and Fridays. But it's kind of like your diet. How often should you eat good food? Well, as often as you can, because you'll get more benefit from doing it. I try to do something every day. Sometimes it's 15 minutes, sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's 2 hours if nobody's bothering me and nobody's home. Sometimes I don't get to do any exercise and go for a day or two. So it's all up to you, but the more you do it, the more benefit you'll get from it. What was the other question? Do I a little bit warmer? We can warm it. Mostly I like to just keep the air moving so you feel that there's some air, because once you start doing some exercises, usually your body starts to get a little hot, and then next thing you know, we got to turn it down again. So we just try to find a comfortable spot. Did you have a question too? Well, why don't we try some of these things? You can sit or you can stand. It's totally up to you. Yeah, you can make a little bit of room. I tell you what, can the two gentlemen here, can you move over towards this way a little bit? Because what I'm doing, I'm videotaping this, so anybody that doesn't come to the class today, but they want to know what happened, then they'll be able to go on the website and be able to see that. I have about 100 videos of exercises and explanations and things like that. So you see me start to rub my hands together. I always start classes like this because, for one, I can feel the air conditioning in here. Like you said, it's a little bit chilly. So you get the blood moving. A lot of the exercises that I teach there's mechanics behind it or just like technical details that kind of make sense if you think about it, why we're doing the exercises. So if we make friction, there's heat. Wherever there's heat, that's where circulation is drawn towards. Okay, it's a capillary principle. So by doing that, just get the blood moving a little bit. Then I'm going to shake my fingers. Just the fingers. And after you do this for 5 or 10 seconds, you start getting a little tingly feeling perhaps, or just tired. From there, I'm going to try to move my arms. So think of it like you got out of a pool and you forgot your towel. It's like, I got to get the water off my body. Now I'm going to move my shoulders, my knees. Notice I got my feet a little bit apart. So I got a little stability, a little better balance. And I'm going to bend my knees at the same time. I'm trying to get the water totally off my body. After we do this for about maybe 15, 20 seconds or so, which we've already done, if you stop, you might feel that tingling. And on a very basic level, it's the blood moving, and now that you stopped, you can feel the blood moving. Well, with a lot of these exercises and so forth, these are things that are from Chinese culture, and they have a different way of looking at things. They think more of energy in the body, not just blood, getting the energy to move. So that's what that tingling is. So what I'd like you to try now is to relax. Put your feet about shoulder width apart. You just came in, we're just getting started. If you feel like you want to sit down at any time, feel free to sit down. You don't have to stand, because you might start to get a little sore or achy from doing what I'm showing you. So I have my feet about as wide as my shoulders. I'm going to bend my knees just a little bit. When I bend my knees, that allows me to tilt my tailbone just a little bit forward. Most of the time, we're used to trying to keep our back straight and arched like this. It's good posture. When we do some of these exercises, we want the back to be more neutral. So we tilt the tailbone a little bit forward. Take your arms and raise them up to about your shoulder height. As if you're trying to connect your fingertips, let them come together, but then just a little bit apart. Relax your thumbs, your elbows. Let your shoulders move freely. Okay? Deep breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. With each breath, you feel some tension build up in your chest from breathing deep. When you exhale, let all that tension go. Let the breath out through your mouth. Shoulders relaxed, arms loose. Maybe some of you are starting to feel in your knees a little bit, or your back. If your back is in that position, you might be feeling it. So again, a couple deep breaths. In, out. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Let's try 2 more. In. You can let your elbows bend a little bit more. The gentleman in the purple there. Out. In. Okay. Well, let's let your arms drop slowly. And relax for a moment. You can stand or you can grab a seat if you need to. Do you feel anything? You feel achy, sore, back maybe, your knee, anything. Doesn't matter. Everybody's going to feel maybe something a little bit different. The idea with doing that exercise and getting in that position, we're kind of like this complicated machine, or like a Rubik's Cube. And when you get it all turning in the right direction, there's the puzzle, you solved it. When you get your alignment like this is one of the ways that you can start to get that energy to move through your body so that you feel this little tingling happening. When that happens, the body starts to heal itself. So the same idea, just a little bit different way of doing it. Knees are still bent, tailbones forward. Take your hands and make a W shape. Real loose. Should be able to move my arms freely. Open your hands as if to have a ball in your hands though. Not just here, but here if you can. And then from here, try and spin your fingers just a little bit. Both hands. Now if you can do that little spin with your fingers, you get your wrist to turn just a little bit. If you can get your wrist to turn just a little bit, make your shoulder move just a little bit. Very simple type of exercises, but trying to make from the mind connect to this part and make it all happen, make everything relax, make everything stay in that position. Sometimes that's the challenge. And this is where your mind is engaged. You're like, what the heck's he doing? He wants me to do this. And what am I doing? Next one, point your thumbs to the wall. So I went from here, my feet and my knees, everything stays the same. I rotate my hands, and I point my thumb to the walls. Pull the fingers back. And then we still keep the breath going. Now to do this a couple times might not be a big deal. For some of you, it might be a lot. You might feel in your neck or your shoulder. Others, this is like nothing. I could be reading a book at the same time here. The idea is as we keep doing it longer and longer, the muscles start to get taxed. More circulation is being sent to that part of the body to address the little bit of pain you might start feeling. The next one is to go straight above our head. Try and touch the ceiling with your palms, and then try to make your thumbs go all the way up to the ceiling. Bend the wrists, bend your elbows, Lower your shoulders. But still try to keep your hands above your head. See how my palms are facing up? Yours are facing down. That's fine, but if you can, try to rotate them to turn over. Now, at any time, if it starts to become too uncomfortable, your shoulders are achy or your back, you just let your arms come down. And you can still continue to do it just from here, breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can let your arms down. Anybody ever tell you, calm down? Have you ever heard that? Hey, calm down. You're getting a little too excited. You're getting upset. Calm down, take a deep breath. Why do we do that? Because the breathing mechanism, when we breathe deep, starts to relax the body. So the idea when we're doing these exercises, I kind of get monotonous going over and over. Keep telling you, breathe in and breathe out, in and out. So you start to get in that deep rhythm. When we get that rhythm going, we get into the state again where the body starts to heal. Does your body heal more during the day when you're doing stuff, or does it heal more overnight when you're resting? You can answer. I won't talk the whole time. Usually overnight you feel better a little. You get up in the morning, next day you feel a little better. The idea when we do these exercises and you're doing that deep rhythmic breathing is your mind starts to get in that rhythm too, where you're letting the stress go and you're just kind of doing things relaxed, and then the body starts to heal from that. Now, are you going to see miraculous changes and cure whatever ails you? Probably not. Not now, not today. But will you see some improvement? Yeah, probably, a little bit at a time. You know, when you eat poorly, do you see the downfall of eating poorly overnight? Usually it's over years, over a period of time. It's the same thing with these exercises. You do it for a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, next thing you know, a couple years, you'll start seeing some benefit from it. Does it work? Yeah, it's work. Nothing's easy, nothing's given to us. But the benefits might be good for you. You want to try a couple other things other than just standing there? Standing there gets kind of boring after a while. Let's put our feet a little bit wider. This is called a horse stance, like you're sitting on top of a horse. Let your knees bend a little bit. Let your toes point out just slightly. Fortunately, we're in a room with these tiles, so I can use those as little reference points. I can put my feet about that wide or maybe here, but wherever the line is at, I'm going to make my toes go just slightly out. The reason for that is because the angle of our knee and our hip, we want to keep it in that same plane. So what I'd like you to do is maybe just put your hands on your waist and try to lower your hips with keeping your back straight. Slowly go down, slowly come back up. All right, I can go a little wider because as I keep doing this, my hip joints and muscles start stretching out a little bit. So the idea is to go a little bit lower, but keeping your back straight. Easy enough, right? Leg stuff, right? Cross your arms and scoop up. So I got an X shape here. From here, I'm going to expand it into a big circle. I'm going to come to my hips. When I get to my hips, my fingers are down. Now I'm going to make a W shape. There's a lot of alphabet type references with these exercises because it's something you can follow. Everybody knows what a W is, right? Easy enough. Here's a W here. Here's an A. Here's an A with my feet. Horse stance. Toes in stance looks like an A. You know, it's just different reference points. So what we'd like to try now, from here with my knees bent, I'm going to straighten my legs, reach for the opposite foot. Come up, big circle, taking a breath. When your hands come down, let your hips come down. When you straighten your arms, straighten your legs. Make that W shape. So do it again. Dip your chin, round your back. Reach just ever so slightly for the opposite foot. Come up, take a deep breath. As your arms drop, let your hips drop. Straighten your legs, straighten your arms. So the idea is to expand our chest so as to be able to take in deeper breaths. Here's a deep breath. Inhale, sink down, exhale. So there's that W shape again. Relax your arms, dip your chin. From here, when I dip my chin, I can round my spine. When my arms come up, my spine is a little bit straighter again. I sink down, straighten the legs, straighten the arms. So we're working on some flexibility with the hips, flexibility of your shoulders, working on making your legs a little stronger by doing this where you sink down. Anybody feel this at all, or is this pretty easy? Because we can stay here for a while too. If you stay down here and do the exercise, then it's more of a strength exercise. You start feeling your hips, your thighs, your knees. So that's another exercise. So when we come up a little bit, I'm going to try another one. Same idea, just again a different way of getting there. Raise your arms, turn your hands so your thumbs are down. Come to the sides. Here's that W again. Bring your hands in, and then push down. You brought an orchestra with you today, I see. All right, that's fine. So my legs are the same. Bring my arms up in front, rotate. So it's like I'm spreading apart, like a curtain. Look out the window. Get to here, twist up. Each finger gets a little bend to it. And then I come in. Index finger and thumbs come together. As I come down, I gotta let my hips come down. When my arms come up, my legs straighten up. Now I'm gonna take in a deep breath as I do this part. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So we come up. The reason we do this slow up and down type of movement is because you use a different set of muscles when you try to lower your body. You use a different set of exercises, different set of muscles when we try to raise the body up. All right? You get sore sometimes walking up too many stairs, right? Well, if you walk down the stairs, a lot of times you feel in your knees. So it's a different part of the body that gets affected. So we go down slow. If you can go down even lower with still keeping your back straight, good for you. And then come up slowly. So now what we're doing, by doing that bending of the hips, the knees, and the ankles, we're bringing the energy down to our lower body. All right, let's go back to the first part. Flick them out. So instead of just doing this now, I want you to flick them. Yep. When we get to the sides over here, flick them. Now slow again. So now you work on your reflex a little bit for doing something kind of quick, and then the rest of it's real slow. So we come back up slow. This is quick, and then slow again. Flick, and then slow again, and then we sink down. Anybody forget to do the breathing? You're holding your breath? By this point, you would be turning purple and fall over if you were holding your breath too long. So even though you're breathing, you're just not in a rhythm of breathing sometimes. So I'll exaggerate it again. From here, if I'm expanding my chest, that's where I'm going to breathe in. When I start to close my chest, that's where I would breathe out. Now, if we go back to the first one, we can link them together. So we have here, first one was like a big circle. Inhale, and then exhale. And there's the W. Second one, flick, slow, flick, slow, and then back down. Third one, if you want to keep trying these, scoop, quick little flick up. We get to our shoulders, flick, and then slow. The reason for the flick is it kind of tricks your mind for that second. You got to do something a little different. It's stimulating the energy, stimulating the muscles to move. You know, every time we get into too much of a rhythm, then you start to fall asleep a little bit. So there's little things in there to kind of like keep you alert, keep you awake. All right, you don't have to be too boring. So let's try the first one again. First one, we're here. Inhale. Exhale. And always feel free to take, another breath. Don't hold your breath for me. 2. Inhale. Exhale. Number 3, flick like you're picking up a box. Get to your shoulders, flick, push the box away from you. So your fingers end up in front this way. Okay? Number 1, inhale. Sink your hips down. So this one doesn't have any flicking. It's just pushing forward. And then 2, flick, inhale. Flick, exhale. Flick, inhale. Flick, exhale. Now it's time to stand up. So instead of just standing up real quick, I want you to shift your weight to one leg, slide your feet together, and make a big circle again. And inhale, and exhale. All right, same thing again. Inhale. So you're kind of regulating your breath when you stand up. Anybody know what hypotension is? I do not have a medical background. I am not a doctor or physician or physical therapist, but I've been doing martial arts exercises for 34 years. So I've picked up a lot of things over the years. Hypotension is low blood pressure. When we stand up real quick after sitting, the blood and the oxygen aren't in your brain. That's why you see stars sometimes, because of low blood pressure. The blood's down here from where we were sitting. So when we start to do these exercises, and if you're in this position for a period of time where the blood is being drawn, and I say, okay, stand up, and you go like this, and you're like, whoa, Jim, you're making me lightheaded. So the idea, we'll stand up slow, and you take a deep breath, and this gesture of opening up the chest and moving my arms gets the blood moving up here again so that I get oxygen back to my brain. That way you don't get lightheaded from standing up. Oh, with the tongue going up and down, what it's doing, it's stimulating that. that meridian, that energy. Now, if I told everybody here, okay, you got to get into a position and get real solid and stable, I'm pretty sure all of you would instinctively close your mouth, swallow, and then exhale. That's what we do when we do something stressful. If you're coming up to a stop sign, you hit the brakes real quick. Usually your mouth closes, you gulp, you swallow, and then you relax. That's what fighters do. You see them fighting in a boxing ring, they tilt their head, they close their mouth, they get set. It's instinctive, and it all comes back to our tongue and our mouth going up and down. So that's the long explanation to a short question. So when we're doing these exercises, that's what I want you to do. I want you to inhale, tongue goes up, you feel saliva, you exhale, tongue goes down, the breath comes out, and you relax. And it's almost like each time you sink down a little bit more. Sinking has to do with your center of gravity. If you're standing up here all the time and doing things with your body upright, your center of gravity is kind of high. If we're relaxed and we move from down here, from that center of gravity, your body's more relaxed and sunken. Well, it just so happens that center of gravity is also where one of your energy centers is at. We have 3 main energy centers in the body. One's here, your thought, you have your heart, you have your lower energy center. Again, this is Chinese theory relative to martial arts and how to keep the body healthy. So, does that answer your question? Probably a little bit extra, right? If you ask, I'll tell you, but a lot of times we just go from one thing to the next. What was your question? Yes. We can. There are some exercises where you use it to kind of give you a visual of moving the ball and also to give you just a little bit of resistance. Okay? Sometimes we do exercise where the ball gets heavier, and that leads you more to like the martial end of the training, which is more about strength and fitness and ability to be able to defend yourself. When we do it for more of the exercises, it would be either empty or just a light ball. Something that you use like a beach ball, something with no weight to it. But yeah, all those weights and different things and all that apparatus over there, sometimes people think like, oh, there's a new thing. They just came out with that. Well, a lot of those type of things have been around for years. People just use weights or rocks or stones or elastic, things have been around for a very long time. So there's apparatus that we can use. You don't necessarily need it though. Did you have a question? Yep. Same idea of how the energy goes. When you breathe all through your nose, you don't let your mouth dry out. Okay? When the mouth stays closed, you keep the saliva in, there's not as much air passing over your tongue, so your mouth stays moist the whole time. Why is that important? Well, as you keep doing these exercises, you don't want to be distracted. You want to be thinking about what you're doing with this. If all of a sudden your mouth is so dry, you're like, God, I gotta go get a drink. I'm just dying in there. It's a distraction. So that is a different way to breathe. Most of the time I'll have you do in through your nose, out through your mouth, because it gets more of that energy moving in your body. All of the things that we're doing is about energy and fitness. I'm not gonna do any self-defense unless for some reason someone pulls me outside and says, Jim, I'd really like to learn how to defend myself or something. That's not what we're here for. What were you gonna say? Right? Everything goes back to the spine. The way we work on balance, you can all sit down. You don't need to stand if your legs are getting tired. If you like to stand, be my guest. I can stand for a long time, but I don't expect you to. So if you want to grab a seat, feel free to. Balance is a combination of 3 major things. One of them is having the flexibility to adjust your center of gravity and knowing where that's at. Okay? If you're just so tight that you're always walking like this, it's like you're a pencil, a sharpened pencil, and you're trying to stand it on end. It's not going to stand too easily on end because you got that little point on the bottom, right? So as you get more flexible, like we just did those exercises, you get a little better range of motion, and you learn to adjust where your center of gravity is at. So that's the first one, flexibility. Second one, for balance, is you got to have a little bit of strength. Are we talking weightlifter strength or athlete strength? No, just enough strength that you can hold that position long enough to make the body develop and get stronger from it. Some of the other positions that I'll show you is where we're standing on one leg and then you bend the supporting leg a little bit. So this leg gets stronger. When you can do exercises on one leg, when you have 2 feet on the ground, your balance is that much better. Sometimes we'll start those exercises where you have a support with a wall. You're just trying to lift your leg up to get more flexibility, to feel more comfortable with that range, and then start to pull the hand off the wall. So that's the second thing. I'm sorry, what were you going to say? Yeah. Putting your pants on, putting socks on. Now, some of that is balance, but also some of that is your flexibility, too, of your shoulders and your back and your legs in order to be able to do that. So it's all connected. But back to the balance. You got flexibility, being able to move and adjust your center of gravity. You need a little bit of strength. The third thing is you need to know where your awareness is at, where you're looking, where you're thinking. If I have all of you try and do this right now, it'll make sense if you want to try it. If I do this and I say, let's try and balance, but I don't give you anywhere to look, and you're trying to balance and your eyes are all over the place, you're going to have a very hard time balancing. But if I say, need a good object here that you can see. I say, look at the back of that chair and then try to balance. Are y'all trying it? There's the chair. Shift your weight, but keep your eye on that chair. Hold your arm to the side. Put your other hand by your underarm. Now still keep your eyes on the chair. Try to lift your leg. If you can lift it, try and lift it higher. Now if you take your eyes off the chair and look at something else, chances are your balance will be diminished. So those 3 things that we do throughout all the exercises we did, we work on our flexibility, we work on our strength, and for the most part I'm always showing you kind of like where your eyes should be. That will make your balance get better. Yep. It won't be easy. It's going to take practice, but by doing those kind of exercises, it'll get better from doing it. So, the other thing that you had said about putting your shoes on or whatever, a lot of that has to do with the flexibility of your back and your hamstrings. So by doing something like we just did now, did you feel in the back of your legs at all? Back here? Something like here too, this stretches the front side of your leg, where you just try to go up and down slowly. This part gets stretched, the hamstring. This part, the quadricep, gets stretched from doing the other side. You can try this too. So remember I said the grid? Put your foot on one of the lines, and then the other line should be maybe about 2 or 3 lines away. Front foot is straight, back foot is on an angle. And then what we'll do to stretch is drop from your hip. And you'll feel back here on this side you'll feel more on the front. And then come back up. Now these are all martial arts exercises, but they're good for your hips and your knees and your back. So from here, sink your hip down, and then back up. Now if I keep my head straight, my back fairly straight, now it ends up being more of a back exercise too. Whereas if I was here, it takes all the stretch, all the tension off my back, and slowly back up. To go to the other side, I'll shift forward like this. And then I'll step again on that grid, maybe 3 lines apart, turn the back foot out. And wherever your knee is at, you always want to keep it in the same line as your foot and your hip. In other words, you don't want your knee like out here or in here. Knee over your ankle, drop your hip. So if my back is straight, right there, everybody, I can see how you're leaning, your back is tight. Because the lower we go here, you want to take the pressure off your back. If you keep the pressure to stay straight, now I'm stretching my hamstring, my quadricep, and my lower back. And then back up. And this is a martial arts technique. This is where you punch from. This is where you block from. This is where we stretch from some of the other exercises. That's a martial arts stance. By doing those stances, you get more circulation, more flexibility, more strength, more balance. So, what's everybody think? Think these things might help, or? I don't know. I've been doing it so long, I've seen so many people get better from doing it, that I have no doubt you'll get better from doing it. Okay. It's, like I said, you move your arms, you move your legs, and then you hope this part gets healthy. With what we just did, we moved our midsection, we moved this part of our body. You know, we did a little bit of stretching in directions that normally you don't do. That's what's going to give you some benefit from the exercises. Balance, you know, I can just show you specific exercises for balance, but as we keep doing these, you'll start to see how everything is all about your balance. Everything's all about everything, because it's all connected. There's a connection. I wish they had a blackboard in here. Triangle. You got the top, two sides, right? A lot of things we do, there's that triangle, three things in it. With martial arts, there's a way of looking at it. The top one is what you think. The bottom one is what you do. The other bottom one is what you eat. Everybody knows there's strength in a triangle. For architecture and structures, that's strong because of the triangle shape. That's why it's so strong. If your thinking is pretty good and solid, you got a lot of positive things going on in your life, that's good. If you do some physical activity, that's good. That third thing, that what you eat, can be a little bit bad. But those two other things can offset that one bad thing. Now, you can have a great diet and a great outlook, but you never exercise. You know people that are like that. They're healthy. They stay healthy because it's what they think that's affecting their body and the organs. Okay, you get another person who does good diet, good exercise, but very negative thought. A lot of things going on upstairs that make them not comfortable. Still, they're going to be healthy up to a point. But when that triangle really comes into focus, as we keep getting older and older, we can't have each one of them taking up the slack for the other ones. Each one's got to be holding its own. So our food, whatever we eat, turns to be either poison or medicine. You can only exercise so much. If you're eating chocolate and drinking soda all day, you exercise all you want, sooner or later it's going to catch up to you. If you just think the world's great and everything's happy, well, that's only going to get you so far because your body still needs to stay healthy. So what I do, I don't focus a lot on the diet. That's kind of up to you. Figure out how to maintain a balanced diet. But I try to focus on the exercises, which is what you do, and then what you think. The way I focus on what you think is by giving you these type of things to talk about and think about to give you a distraction from other things. When we were doing these exercises, weren't you thinking in your head, a little dialogue? Like, what's he talking about? What's he trying to make us do? Is this going to work? You know, you get that inner dialogue going, which is separate from what you think of when you walk out the door and go on to your next task. That dialogue can be either good or it can be bad. When it's here, it's usually pretty good. When we walk out, we start thinking about money. It's like, I got to pay the bills. You start thinking about the weather. It's like, am I cold? Am I hot? That's the cycle. What do we do with our money? What do we do with our health? What do we do with the weather? And think about it. Throughout the day, we think about it 100 times, 1,000 times. You do this for an hour, it gives you a little break from that. So, does this all make sense? I try to speak kind of practically and mechanically, because if you think about it, that makes perfect sense to me. So.